They got recognized by Israel and they're celebrating. That's shameful. Oh, shameful. Shameful behavior.
I'll bring out, disgraceful shows of love and affection for an apartheid regime which hates Muslims, hates Islam, is killing them. And we've had 2 years of genocide.
Obviously, from a leadership perspective, they are clearly munafiqeen within the body of the Ummah. And they are the enemy of Islam and Muslims. And they are going to hand over a strategic base on the Horn of Africa for Israel to basically attack Yemen and other Muslim countries.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to the very first episode of Muslims Uncensored, filmed after the Gregorian New Year. So, if it's okay to say it, Happy New Year, I guess.
No, it's haram.
We
I don't say it.
We obviously don't celebrate it here, but for those of you who have noticed this phenomena occurring, I must admit, Roshan, there was a lot of celebration across the Muslim world.
Too much, yeah.
Too much.
My neighbour did
liking.
say Happy New Year to me, so I felt obliged to say it back.
And you
but I felt dirty inside. But yeah, I did notice all across the Muslim world. Obviously, in Dubai, you have the fireworks. In Qatar, but also countries like Turkey and Malaysia and Egypt, going a bit overboard with the Santa Claus outfits and the fireworks and the happy 2026.
Santa Claus
at the end of the day, it's a non-Muslim festival, right? And we have our own, Islamic
Eid
calendar.
And stuff, yeah.
So obviously, if they're Christians living in Muslim countries, let them celebrate it. But I don't think we should get in on the act.
Yeah, I don't want to start a row already. I've only just introduced the show and I might get condemned. I don't care too much. Maybe it's because I'm a Westerner, a convert to Islam. New Year's, as long as you're not doing something haram like letting the alcohol flow or something ridiculous like that, then, letting off a few fireworks and marking the day with family, I don't see a harm in it myself.
Christmas is worse.
I think you're a bit of a Grinch.
Because, Christmas, obviously, that's a religious festival, a Christian religious festival.
Yeah, so that's
so celebrating Christmas, I think, is haram. I think that's pretty clear cut, right? New Year's, it's a secular festival, a few fireworks, but it's still imitating the kuffar, isn't it? It's a kuffar. It's a kuffar festival, and we're not meant to imitate the kuffar.
Things. Yeah, Muslims celebrate things. I just don't think I just think you're allowed to have fun in life, and if you're doing it in a halal kind of way with family, it's
better
not such
to avoid.
A big deal.
Why were you out there with the fireworks
deal.
and the?
I had a sparkler.
Old Lang Syne and whatever.
Swinging a sparkler around. I'm not going to lie.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe.
What were you doing? You were out and about with a sparkler, or
no?
The back garden.
Home with family. Yeah, back garden.
Yeah.
I like to see him with family. What can I say? I was surrounded.
I think
by
I just
Muslims.
slept through it.
We ate halal food on the night. I wasn't down a pub or whatever.
I think I just slept through it, or when the fireworks got a bit loud, I think I might have called the police. Noise pollution. No, I didn't do
that. On the neighbours.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That's the first debate of the show. I've only just announced it. But anyway, brothers and sisters, welcome to 2026. This is the first show of the year, and we've got a lot to discuss. Now, the first thing we need to get off our chests, I think, and give us all a chance to vent about this, is this disgraceful, humiliating, embarrassing, just appalling celebrations that we've seen from our brothers and sisters in Somaliland, the breakaway territory, which is part of Somalia. It's a region which has tried to pull away and go on its own, and it has managed to secure the recognition of Israel. So out of all the countries in the world that they're trying to get recognition from, they've celebrated, not just acknowledged that they have it, they've celebrated Israel's recognition. Now, Israel, of course, genocidal regime, mass murdering innocent Muslims in Gaza and elsewhere in occupied Palestine. But to our brothers in Somaliland, many of them, it seems as if that's not an issue for them. We've got footage here, which I'll bring out. Disgraceful shows of love and affection for an apartheid regime which hates Muslims, hates Islam, is killing them. And we've had 2 years of genocide, but these guys in Somaliland have been celebrating it, waving Israeli flags, and it's now culminated in the first ever visit of the Israeli foreign minister to the breakaway territory Somaliland, and was welcomed by its local regional president. Just to clarify, Somalians, many of them, have condemned this outright. It's caused a massive stir in the Muslim world, widely condemned across the Islamic and Arab world, and also people in Somaliland as well. Let's acknowledge this. Have condemned this. Some local scholars, in fact, have spoken.
Did you see the tweet thread by Jodie McIntyre, who's been living there for about 3 months?
Yeah. So a friend of the channel, Jodie McIntyre, well known and loved in Birmingham. He's out there. I think he's still out there. I could actually bring up that thread if you just give me a moment. Perhaps you can give me your reaction to this story, Roshan, while I do.
So I mean, I think
there's been a lot of local protests.
I think obviously from a leadership perspective, they are clearly munafiqeen within the body of the Ummah, and they are the enemy of Islam and Muslims, and they are going to hand over a strategic base on the Horn of Africa for Israel to basically attack Yemen and other Muslim countries. So what they have done is treachery, but we have also a coordinated media offensive on social media in particular, which I think is distorting the actual feeling of our brothers and sisters in Somaliland. I don't believe for 1 minute that every Somalilander is pro what they've done. And I think Jodie McIntyre has already said that, having living there for 3 months now, imams have been imprisoned for voicing their opposition. Generally, kind of social media is being manipulated. Images of celebrations are being manipulated. So while I have no doubt the leadership is to blame, and I'm sure that many Somalilanders, unfortunately, are backing this, I think there is a mixed picture going on as well. Yeah, so this is the tweet thread that you've mentioned from Jodie McIntyre, who was out there at the time of this happening. He has listed some prominent examples of local scholars, including Mohammed Abdi Rashid here, who has given passionate speeches condemning the actions, condemning Israel, condemning Netanyahu, and has faced repercussions locally as a result of that. Also protesters who have voiced outrage over the decision, and so on. So this is a great thread and proof that not all Somalilanders are down with this. I think the backlash from Somalians widely has also been very I'd like to
telling.
talk a little bit about that.
Somalia actually is a country with a great track record on Palestine. Standing with the Palestinian cause, not recognizing Israel, not going down the Abraham Accords route. And remember, this is a country which would probably benefit a lot economically if it did. Frankly speaking, has gone through some hard times, but Somalians, they're not playing around. But like you say, there has been a mixed reaction. We actually have footage here from Birmingham, if I can bring it up. Let me see if I can find it now. It was of a protest of Somalilanders living in Birmingham celebrating this, and a local Muslim actually had to confront these guys about it. He felt compelled to do so, just calling them out, saying it was shameful for them taking to the streets to celebrate getting recognition from a state, a regime, which is an occupying power, killing Muslims in Palestine, an absolute shame and disgrace. So, we're going to monitor this as it goes on. And I think people perhaps are just ignorant about it. What I will say about it is I don't know the history of Somaliland or Somalia that well to give a ruling
it's
on
one
what's
tribe.
right or wrong.
It's a breakaway region.
Breakaway tribe, right?
It's basically one tribe doing all this. Yeah,
one tribe doing all this. Okay, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They don't deserve it after this, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say they had some grievances with wider Somalia, where they have some legitimate right to call for their own state.
Yeah.
Well, whatever that legitimate right was after this, it's gone. No one cares. Okay, you want to bend the knee and kiss the Israeli flag after a genocide in Gaza. I don't care what your reasoning is to want to go for a state. You're actually becoming such a hindrance to the peace and unity of the Ummah at wide that I think the Islamic world has an obligation to stop this project, not just for Somalia's sake to keep, the sovereign state together and safe, but just for everyone, for our sake. We do not want Israeli satellite states springing up. What do you think Israel's going to do? They're not doing it because they care about Somalilanders. Israel doesn't care about anyone except themselves. They want to use it as a launch pad to attack Yemen, which gave them a real run for their money during the Gaza conflict, one of the only Arab Muslim countries that did anything for Gaza. They want to use it as a base, I'm sure, to attack and destroy Yemen more. They want to use it as a base to destroy Somalia, which is one of the few African Muslim countries which has stood loyal against the Abraham Accords and for Palestine. So this is an attack This is an attack, an agenda to destroy the Ummah. And Somalilanders, many of them, are openly going along with it. It's a total embarrassment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether you can get the picture up of the article that we did yesterday, the news story. And if you scroll down, not this one.
Is this the one?
Just scroll down, and there is an image there. I don't know whether we can enlarge it. Yeah, that one. Basically, the president of this breakaway region, Abdirahman Abdullahi, look at him grinning from ear to ear as he shakes the hand of a murderous baby killer, basically. So not only are they doing this for strategic reasons or whatever, they're shoving it down our throats, quite frankly, with these pathetic celebrations. I mean, when Egypt and Jordan normalized with Israel, okay, it was a terrible thing to do, but they didn't shove it down our throats with all these kind of handshakes and smiles. But look at this clown, absolute clown, disgrace to Islam and Muslims, and frankly, all his supporters are as well. But we must say that, I mean, I've got a Somali friend, a journalist in Mogadishu, who basically penned a piece of papers yesterday apologizing to Palestinians on behalf of Somalians. Most Somalians are deeply ashamed by what happened, and they feel as down and out and despondent about the genocide against the Palestinians as all Muslims around the world do. And we must remember this. So no racism towards Somalians, please. This is a breakaway tribe in the north of the country, and the leadership has taken this treacherous action. Let's focus our ire on them, not on Somalis, as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. The Somalian reaction to this and the backlash has been immense. So that's very heartwarming to see. And yeah, I think I did learn a little bit about Somalian history from this episode. They have a long history of fighting imperialism. They've had real problems with this. That's why actually Somalia has a lot of problems today. It's because of the aftermath of so much imperialist oppression and aggression that they face, and the fact that they've been able to fight against it so brilliantly in the past. I mean, I think the state only received proper independence like in the 60s, maybe something like that. You'll have to forgive me and clarify in the comments section. But yeah, it's a history. That's why Somalia, I think, has been so loyal to the Palestinian cause. It's because they know what it's like to be occupied and attacked and murdered by European colonialist projects like what Israel is. So that, I think, adds the extra insult to Somaliland as well.
I think Somalia also needs to get protection now. I think it might be the time for them to get, Turkish bases in the country or a coalition of Muslim countries that can protect Somalia, because Somalia now is going to be in the crosshairs of Israel, whereas in the past it never was. Unfortunately, the Somalilander treacherous traitor leadership have let Shaitan into the heart of the Muslim world and the Horn of Africa to basically commit their havoc. And I know that the Houthis have already said that any Israeli base in Somaliland will be a legitimate target.
Yeah, they have. And those are the kind of guys that keep their word in that regard. They target Israel in occupied Palestine. You can bet your bottom dollar that they're going to target Israeli assets in a much closer proximity to their territory. So yeah, let's see how this escalates. But yeah, Israel clearly has an agenda here. And I think the Ummah at large, like you mentioned Turkey has a good relationship with Somalia and has been doing a lot of work there. They have a close relationship. I think countries like Turkey have to be wary of this. This is an agenda to attack the Ummah at large. It's part of an ongoing, obviously, Israeli foreign policy strategy of weakening.
It is on, obviously we talk a lot about
that type of thing.
Obviously, we talk about a lot about the enemies of Islam, but unfortunately, within the body of the Ummah, we have a lot of traitors. And I mean, even in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when you had the Munafiqun in Medina, and he dealt with them, as much as he dealt with the Quraysh. So I think we need to deal with our own Munafiqun, and there's too many of them.
Well, that is that story there. Do leave your comments in the comment section. Tell us what you think. I think we do need a chance to vent. Let's obviously control our language and, remember that Somalians at large are good people and are doing the right thing. It's just tiny minority with a bit of power in their breakaway region, unfortunately, and Israel's manipulating that. We are going to read out comments later on in the show from previous episodes of Muslims Uncensored, like the Venezuela story, which we spoke about in a special episode on Monday. So going forward, do leave your comments in there, your opinions and questions. We are going to make a special effort this year to read them out as we go, inshallah. Well, let's see. I guess let's talk about two people who haven't betrayed the Ummah. Some people who have been punished, actually, for their support of the Palestinian cause in their sphere of influence. Here we have Dr. Shadee Elmasry, who has been barred from entering the UK. He was planning a tour here. This is someone who, is a friend of Five Pillars. I've spoken to him. You've interviewed him in the past. Fantastic an individual who we know personally. And, he was planning on doing a tour here, but he was barred by the Muslim Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, because he was pro-Palestine. He said things that Israel doesn't like.
The Muslim Home Secretary.
I'm sorry, Roshan.
I think we have to do that every time we say a name.
I might get condemned for it, but every time I see her on the news, Shabana Mahmood, she goes, I'm a practicing Muslim, didn't you know? And I'm a Muslim. Oh, I come from a Muslim family. Oh, yes, I'm Muslim. Oh, I've been suffering such a hard time because I'm a Muslim. And since she's been Home Secretary, what's she done?
Ban Muslims.
Ban Muslims, oppress Muslims, sucking up to freaking pro-Israel forces. I mean, it's a disgrace. Even far-right forces having an easy time under her watch. So I'm sorry, but
she's the new anti-immigration Home Secretary, isn't she? Stealing Reform UK's clothes.
Yeah, she's doing a good job for Reform, man. I mean, Tommy Robinson's having a whale of a time under her watch.
She's like,
what is the point in having a Labour Muslim? She's
worse than Farage, I'll tell you what.
Basically, he's in by proxy. But coming back to this story, obviously, Dr. Elmasry, he's been. This is a blatant, barefaced example of Muslim freedom of speech coming under attack because they've said something pro-Palestine. Yeah. Do you want to react to the story?
Yeah.
Roshan?
So I spoke to Dr. Shadee yesterday, and so basically he's a brother from America. I think Sufi orientated. He's done his studies in Islamic studies in Morocco.
He's a Maliki, I think.
Possibly. I think so.
That's what's interesting about him. He speaks a lot. I think he learned in North Africa.
Yeah.
And he's of the Maliki denomination.
I think he used to live in the UK as well. I think he has perhaps a doctorate from SOAS, something like that. So he's a friend of the UK, been here many times. I think he thinks quite highly of this country. He's excited to come back on a speaking tour. I think it was a charity global trust or something like that. And he's going to speak in Birmingham, a few other cities. So basically the Zionists got hold of this promotional material and they started trawling through his social media. And obviously there are some comments there in support of the Palestinian resistance, some comments about 9/11, nothing that, any ordinary American doesn't say every day of the week, even non-Muslim American, quite frankly. I think at least half the country believe it was an inside job. So, obviously they seized on those comments. They got a media campaign going, Jewish Chronicle, usual suspects, campaign against anti-Semitism, and Nick Timothy MP, pro-Israel MP, Tory MP in Parliament, made a big fuss about this. All of them pro-Israel, all of them Zionists, all of them very keen to shut down, Muslim public opinion. And obviously the Home Secretary dances to their beat. And lo and behold, after this campaign by Zionists, he gets banned from entering the country because he's not conducive to the public good, apparently, and he's a hate monger, etc., etc. Now, I know this guy, and you can check him out on YouTube, Safina Institute. Dr. Shadee Elmasry is a very popular YouTuber, gives us Islamic lectures online. He's an imam in a mosque in New Jersey. And he's very moderate in his views, and he's only expressing views that, Muslims all over the world think. And in fact, a lot of his views are a lot more moderate than most Muslims think. And there's absolutely no reason, unless you are fanatically against freedom of speech and want to silence any pro-Palestine opinion, then there's no reason to let him in the country. Yeah. So this is a country that lets Valentina Gomez, a Quran burner, an anti-Muslim hate monger who incites hate and violence against Muslims every single day. She gets into the country, no problem. She stands outside Downing Street and gives an incendiary anti-Muslim speech, calling us rapists and God knows what. you know, and she just breezes through customs. Come in, Valentina, no problem. Come in, no problem, you know, no issue whatsoever. Ultimately, the Zionists, they don't care if you're a hate monger or not. The litmus test is, do you support Israel or not? So it doesn't matter what your incendiary views are, you know, as long as you support Israel or you're not against Israel, you're okay. You utter one word against Israel, whether you're a Christian, Jewish, Muslim, atheist, whatever, then you're not going to get into the country. And quite frankly, these Zionists, they're just trying to split us up. They're trying to divide us, and we've got to stay united. Please show your solidarity for Dr. Shadee Elmasry. Watch his podcasts on YouTube. Express your sympathy online. Express your outrage to the government, Shabana Mahmood, etc., for banning him, blatantly cracking down on freedom of speech and silencing this guy. All these democratic values that Britain claims to uphold, thrown in the dustbin.
You know, it's really damning on groups like Labour Muslim Network and Muslims who remained loyal to Labour, you know, even after the genocide and stuff, because their argument is, look, Labour is the best game in town, and although they have a lot of problems, it's better to get them in because, you know, like Shabana Mahmood as Home Secretary would surely be better than having a Tory or Reform UK in there. They make the same argument for Sadiq Khan in London, for example. And I mean, really, like, she's like banning Muslims, like you say. I mean, what is the point in having Shabana Mahmood in if she's just going to pander to the same forces and not act as a bulwark? Because that's the whole point. Some Muslims stay loyal to Labour to get them in to defend the community against the encroachment of the far right and this type of Islamophobia and pro-Israel forces. Labour is just not doing that. It has no interest in doing that. It is a pro-Israel force. It's basically swung to the right, and it's trying to win over far-right racists to get them to vote Labour in working class areas that they're losing ground to reform. So that argument doesn't hold weight. There's your proof. I don't want to hear it anymore, brothers and sisters. I've heard it all during the general election. It annoyed me then. It annoys me now. This is the proof. We're right. Get over Labour. Ditch that. We need to get them out.
And Shabana Mahmood has to go at the next election. I mean, if the good people of Birmingham Ladywood don't chuck her out, the good Muslims of Birmingham Ladywood don't chuck her out at the next election, that's a disgrace on them.
I think they smell, you know, and I'm not saying this in an aggressive way at all, blood in the water. I think polling has shown that she's not safe in that seat.
She's got to go.
What I hope, please, don't split the vote. Don't destroy your chances. We had a chance, I think, already to get some of these Labour Muslims out.
Yeah.
I forget what the seats were, but we came really close. But vote splitting and stuff ruined our chances.
Yeah.
So don't do it again. Please, one good, solid, proper grassroots, locally backed and loved Muslim candidate. Step them up, get them to run against her. And, I mean, how humiliating will that be? The so-called self-described, you know, I'm a Muslim Home Secretary being outed by an actual Muslim who's backed by her Muslim constituents.
And she wants to be Prime Minister, no doubt about that. She has ambitions to become Prime Minister. We have to scupper that.
She'll start deporting Muslims. She'll start deporting Muslims en masse.
She's already doing it. She's already doing it, yeah.
Yeah, she'll
I think Labour have basically
reform policy through.
I mean, obviously Labour are tanking in the polls, but I think they've decided the best way of giving them the best chance at the next election isn't to differentiate themselves from reform. It's actually to steal their clothes. Now, I think that's a flawed policy, but that seems to be what they've decided to do. They're not pandering to Muslims as much as they might have done in the past. They're going for the reform voters.
Yeah, it's not going to work. The reform voters have made their minds up. They've got the party that they want in, and that's reform. They've got their little populist Nigel Farage.
Why vote for reform? Why vote for reform light Labour when you can get the real thing?
Exactly, and
when you can get the real racists into power, you know,
Labour's
real Islamophobes.
Yeah, Labour's just so despised, and it's already branded by reform voters as the Muslim party that's trying to destroy us. And their economic game has been so terrible, and we're all struggling so much here. It's just not going to win. It's a dumb, stupid Labour policy, and it's not going to win.
A one-trick pony. That's immigration, okay? And that's what they're hedging all their bets on. And they don't even have an answer to that. They're just using it to get into power. You know, simple as that.
Absolutely.
Anyway, should we move on? Next story?
Solidarity. Another Muslim brother who we need to talk about. The American journalist in Syria, Bilal Abdul Kareem, was arrested by the Syrian authorities in Aleppo on December the 22nd. Since then, there has been no word about his whereabouts or condition, let alone information about why he was actually detained. A fundraiser has been set up for the benefit of his family while he is behind bars. I haven't followed this story very closely, Roshan. So
Yeah, let
perhaps
me
you can
say a few
update.
words.
I know this isn't the first time he's been arrested in Syria. I
No,
believe.
he was arrested in Idlib, I would say 4 or 5 years ago, by HTS. So, Ahmed Ashara was leading HTS at the time, for being critical. So he's an outspoken brother. He's a very fiercely independent journalist. I know the brother, quite well, and never met him in person, but we've spoken online and interviewed each other on shows, etc. over the years. Lovely brother. Open to speaking to anybody, maybe too open at times, very honest, a supporter of the Syrian uprising against Bashar al-Assad for many years. He's lived in Syria for about 13 years now, I think. And I think the Americans tried to kill him a few times as well. He was on a bit of a kill list. But he's been doing charity and he's been doing journalism for all that time in a very open, transparent way. He's been critical of the new Syrian authorities to a certain extent, but all legitimate criticism. He supports the new Syria, but he has reservations over, some of the lack of response to to Israeli actions in the country, and maybe the alliance with the West, which the new Syrian authorities are embarking upon. But if the new Syria is to be different from the old Syria, then they should allow sincere Muslims to do their job as journalists. He's not breaking the law. All he's doing is expressing an honest opinion. Now, we don't know that's why he's been arrested, quite frankly. We're just speculating here because there's no information. And I'm getting a bit worried about Bilal because it's been, more than 2 weeks now since he's been arrested. We don't know where he is, and there's no information. No one seems to be talking about it online. I hope there are some negotiations going on behind the scenes, and that's why people are being a little bit quiet. And I hope he's released soon. But in the meantime, brothers and sisters, there is a link that you can see there on screen. Maybe we can flash it up a bit larger when we actually edit the show. Medina.com/a family in crisis. So Bilal has many kids. I think he has maybe a dozen kids. And I think he has 3 wives as well. And while he's behind bars, they don't have any income and they need support. So it's not Bilal's fault. I don't believe it's Bilal's fault that he's in jail. And while he's in jail, there are kids to feed. There are wives to look after. People have already donated a good amount, alhamdulillah, £11,000. This is from an official source. This is people close to Bilal that are raising this money. They aim to get about £19,000. Inshallah, let's do that. So brothers and sisters, if you can be generous and think of Bilal, think of all the wonderful journalism that he's done over the years, think about the sincere person that he is, and inshallah, donate to a very worthy cause.
Inshallah, yeah. Well, we will monitor this story and provide updates as they come. But yeah, like you say, I think...
let's see what
I
happens,
think there's
Robert.
something happening behind the scenes, so we don't want
Let's
to
hope so.
go into too much detail. But yeah, let's see. Prayers, of course, with the family and with Bilal as well. Well, the next big story I think we should talk about is obviously the ongoing situation regarding Venezuela and the captured president and his wife, Nicolas Maduro.
Kidnapped, not captured. Why are you going on BBC and CNN?
Yeah, I'm a bit remaining impartial when I shouldn't be. But obviously the kidnapped president and his wife who have been plucked out of the capital, Caracas, about a week ago now. We did a special show on this on Monday, and it created a big reaction. A lot of people were speculating about various things, and there has been updates since. Obviously, we have seen Maduro arrive in New York with his wife. They were in court. They pleaded not guilty. to a series of charges. And yeah, it's just going to be a massive story this year, I think, and people are reacting to it globally. The Islamic world, interestingly, doesn't seem to know what to say or do. It depends which country you go to. Some have completely ignored it.
Yeah.
Basically like, oh,
they're scared.
We'll just look over here and pretend nothing's happening with our dear friend Mr. Trump attacking whoever he wants. But some countries who, of course, have had good relations with Venezuela, I think are just horrified. They're just like, what the heck is going on here? How can anyone expect this to be acceptable? Especially a country which claims to police like the free world and follow rule of law. It just goes in and just, whoop, we'll just take this guy away because we hate what he stands for. Turkey has condemned it. Iran passionately has condemned it, and various groups as well. I think Malaysia was really strong and harsh about this, criticised the US about this. And I think the international community just doesn't know what to do, you know, because Trump at the end of the day does head the biggest superpower country on the globe today. No one knows what to do. And yeah, it's just turned into quite a story. What's your reaction so far?
No, I mean, I think we covered it quite well on Saturday. Actually, we did the podcast. I think obviously it's difficult to read Trump. He's so unpredictable, and whatever he says something different the next day. I think my assessment now, a few days after these events, is that it wasn't a regime change operation. It was more of a shakedown, more of a kind of strong arming tactic to scare Venezuela into handing over a lot of its oil to America and to cut ties to China, Iran, and these other countries by basically scaring the hell out of them, by proving that they can just go in and snatch their president within a few hours. But they've left the Chavista regime in place, the communist socialist regime. They've kind of sidelined the opposition, the Venezuelan opposition. I expected them to actually try and shoehorn the pro-American Venezuelan opposition in, but I think they realize that actually might be a tough task. I don't think he wants to get boots on the ground. I think he wants to he wants to control them from a distance without getting American troops involved. And now, of course, he's talking about Greenland, he's talking about Cuba, he's talking about Iran. And I think the reality is that the whole world is scared of what this American president can do, because they think like we don't really have many options, because the US military is so powerful and so strong that they can probably take all of our countries, you know, in no time whatsoever. Or they can cause immense havoc and we can't do anything back. So I think the world is like scratching their heads. What do we do with this guy? I mean, I'd like to see him removed from power. If there's some internal mechanism within America, because he's obviously overstepping his powers as president. He's obviously taking these unilateral actions which do not have the support of Congress or public opinion within America. The majority of Americans, something like 55 to 45, oppose what he did in Venezuela. And usually at times of military conflict, Americans rally behind the flag. So that is an opinion poll before things have started to go wrong. So I don't know, Robert. I mean, we obviously have an out-of-control American president. I think the sooner he goes, the better. I hope that the Americans themselves can come to some kind of sense and impeach him or curtail his powers.
Yeah, he's worried about it. I think there's midterms coming up, and he actually said,
he's tanking in the polls. His poll ratings are very low.
Yeah, he said if we don't win the midterms, they will impeach him.
Yeah,
that's literally the plan. So he is worried about it.
If I was the head of a Muslim country, I mean, obviously we're seeing all these really cowardly reactions from Europe and the Muslim world, and apart from a few countries like Turkey and Iran, etc. But if I was the head of a Muslim country, I wouldn't go out of my way to antagonize the American president, simply because they have the power to take you down. But at the same time, you have to, right is right. You have to kind of maintain your values and principles, and you have to come out with at least statements condemning what went on, which was ultimately an act of international piracy. And there seems to be no accountability for it whatsoever. Yeah. I mean, at the very least, he should be, the ICC should launch legal action against him, to indict him, to place a travel ban on him. Or people should be boycotting the World Cup. I know that sounds trivial, but they should be doing something instead of just kind of letting America and Trump get away with this international piracy.
Yeah, you're right. And because the thing is, it sets a dangerous precedent. It's like the US basically saying in countries like anywhere in Latin America, in Africa, in the Middle East, in Asia, we can do stuff like this and get away with it, and we don't care. You know, I mean, although there's a lot of tension over the Greenland thing, and Trump doesn't, he doesn't shy away from an argument or a fight with the Europeans. I don't think he's going to pluck a European leader like that. You know, he's going to treat him differently because of their heritage. You know, that's what I believe. I've actually got some really good reactions which were shared in the comment section of our last show. So let's bring them up now and bring you guys into the conversation. I've got a reaction here which says, I am a Guyanese Muslim living in London, born and grew up there. I'm fully aware of Venezuela's ongoing hostility towards our country, and they want to seize a part of our land and river, which is very rich in oil and gold. But having said that, the US is no friend of any nation. They are known for their treachery and only look out for their own interests and greed. I fear Guyana may be dragged into this, as we are close allies with the US and the only English-speaking country in South America, a former British colony. The US are working with Guyana to extract our recently discovered oil, whilst it may seem like a good deal, as we do not have the technology and means to do it ourselves, we will always have to repay the US for any favor that they give us. The US ultimately will replace Venezuela's leader with the slave dog to the US and Israel's desires. That's something which has been highlighted by many, including people in Venezuela, that there was a Zionist tinge. I think it was mentioned by the temporary leader of Venezuela now. She said there was a Zionist flavor to the operation that happened against Maduro. And obviously Maduro and Venezuela have been very pro-Palestine. But people are also saying, you know, this is about oil, it's not about Palestine. So it kind of depends. I think it's a mix of things.
It's about oil, and it's about asserting American hegemony over its backyard, what it considers to be its backyard.
But remember, Netanyahu visits Washington at the end of December.
Yeah.
He mentions Venezuela in interviews and stuff around that time, linking it to Iran. A couple of days later, Trump goes on the offensive.
They're working hand in glove, obviously.
Absolutely.
Trump and Netanyahu, they're like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've wrapped him around their finger. Another comment here. The only reason the CIA succeeded with Maduro is through bribery of the Venezuelan military chiefs, which betrayed him, not military capability by the US. No country approaches Iran's for the 21st century technology and strategic weapons.
Well, that's rubbish.
A bit of pro-Iran commentary there.
No, that's right. Let me take this. I mean, look, the first bit. I think that obviously they were monitoring the inner workings of the Maduro government and his personal movements for several months. I think it's logical that they did have a man on the inside to do this, but to insinuate that they bought off the military or even Delcy Rodriguez, I think is going too far. I mean, it did surprise me that they had sidelined the opposition so quickly, the pro-American opposition. That would suggest that maybe they had some contacts with the military and Delcy Rodriguez. But it's all speculation. Frankly, it's Israeli accounts that are kind of spewing out this propaganda. I think another plausible explanation is that they simply view regime change as too messy and too hard. So they prefer to work with the authorities that are still there, but in a more compliant way. In terms of Iran's, come on, no country approaches Iran for 21st century technological and strategic weapons and firepower. I mean, that is just la-la land. I mean, we know that Iran has, for the region, quite a powerful military. But on a worldwide scale, on a global scale, its military probably ranks something like 10 to 15 in the world. And that's the reality, you know? So to say that is just, it's just a stupid comment which holds no water. We saw that Israel controlled Iran's skies within a couple of days. That tells you all. Now, I'm not diminishing, the capabilities that Iran has and their willingness to use them. But let's not make stupid comments like that. No country approaches their firepower. Come on.
I think to be fair to Iran, they're probably ranked within the top 10 military strengths in the world, if you think about it. Because if you think about it, apart from the obvious massive superpowers, who has big armies, big capabilities, you know, to go on a real offensive, regionally speaking, I think Iran's... Like,
So we have the USA.
Iran's probably in the top 6.
Right, look. USA, China, Russia, UK, France, nuclear weapons, Israel. So that's already down to 7.
Yeah.
Turkey is stronger than them.
Nuclear weapons alone.
I mean, a lot of the... who else? I mean, who else has nuclear weapons? North Korea. I mean, they don't have much else apart from nuclear weapons, but they do have nuclear weapons. They may be around 10. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that, look, basically my opinion on Iran's capabilities has changed after witnessing Venezuela. That it was so easy for them to just stroll in and attack them in the capital and take the president and his wife with basically no trouble at all. I mean, if you look at how Iran has at least hit back, bombed Israel, put up a fight, I don't know, even their air defense, they seem to be able to take down some Israeli shots pretty well. At least they were firing some stuff up there. Venezuela didn't do anything.
I'm just saying they're not number one. This guy, whoever it is insinuating they're number one. They're not number one. That's all I'm saying.
German force here says, I really thought Venezuela will show resistance, but the US operation went so smooth, it was like silk. Seems that nobody wants to stand up against this bully.
Well,
I think,
you know, a lot of Cubans did give their lives for this. Like 30 Cuban bodyguards got killed. So I assume they got killed because they were resisting.
Yeah, there were some injuries though, but yeah, I mean,
look,
there's
Robert,
something wrong
Robert,
here.
we don't have, as I said before, militarily, we are outclassed by America and Israel.
Yeah, but
That's why I always say that the battle for us is more a spiritual battle and a battle of values.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we have to change the minds of people that have these guns and have these weapons.
No, that's true.
And once we change their values and their minds, they won't use them against us.
No, you're absolutely right there, and I do agree with you on that. But I think just analysing this situation and comparing it to, say, what we've seen in the Muslim world, where similar operations have been conducted by the US, I mean, it's just a bit of a disappointment, to be honest. I mean, the Muslims, they put up a fight. I mean, just look at the US occupation of Iraq. Yeah. Just look at the US occupation of Afghanistan.
Well, in Iraq.
Look at Yemen, man. I mean, Yemen, you would have... People insult Yemenis. They say, oh, they're a people of sandals and camels or something. They don't even have capabilities. But I mean, my goodness, they know how to fight. And they were fighting. They entered the war and fought Israel from a distance and landed some blows, man. Yeah. This is Yemen we're talking about. The same, I mean, they went into Somalia and did a similar operation there. They turned it into a freaking movie because of the blowback that they got from Somali forces. And they turned it into a bloody movie.
So what you're trying to say is Muslims fight, non-Muslims don't.
I thought there would be some.
It has been disappointing, to be honest.
I mean, this is a socialist.
To be honest.
These are not woke, your party socialists that exist over here, the fluffy types that wouldn't say boo to a goose. These are Venezuelan socialists. They arm their civilians and they talk about we're ready for the war to end all wars. You know, they're following the footsteps of Che Guevara and Fidel Castro. Yeah. And then, okay, we're just going to stroll in, take your president, and then
I mean, it was disappointing how quickly they got the president with a 2-hour operation.
I was shocked.
But not only that, it was also disappointing how millions of people didn't come into the streets the next day. Now, people have come into the streets, but kind of a little bit after they realized that America isn't going to launch any more missiles for the time being. Yeah. So now it's safe to go out into the streets. I think we'll have a little jolly down there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
it's a little bit, their response has been a bit tame and a bit supine. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what it is? I think it's because although Venezuela's a Catholic country, how religious is it? I don't know. But I mean, the Islamic world right now is like very religious. You know, there's like an Islamic revival and socially and politically, it's very religious. And I think that just it spurs people on, you know, when Muslims are being oppressed like this and there's such a blatant injustice like Palestine, like whatever else, just living in this dunya under these circumstances isn't a thing anymore.
We're not prepared to live like slaves.
Man. I mean, you know, Muslims, we're weak. We're militarily down. We're getting killed and oppressed and whatnot. But I mean, my goodness, what a fight back. I mean, even
living with dignity.
Trump complimented the Houthis, you know. I mean, even though they got pounded, he said when they called a truce, he said, they put up a fight. He complimented Iran too. He said those guys gave him hell in Israel, and he started cussing out Israel a bit at the time. Anyway, I think there's like one more comment before we move on. This is from Sikandar. Roshan and Robert's advice is very good and realistic, that we follow the correct guided path and will be standing left in the last round when the empires have all lost from their failure of values. How victory will come is unknown, but will play out by the ultimate divine plan that we have no control of. So let's just follow rules and the guide book.
Yeah.
That I think was a response to our end of show comments, where we basically said, what you've said, that we're in tough times now, we are down, the US is controlling things and doing whatever the heck they want. They're even plucking out presidents now of countries they don't like. But we have Islam, we have our moral values, and that is superior. Islam is an undefeatable force, it's a winning force, and it's growing globally. Maybe that's what we've got to focus on.
I mean, ultimately, our goal is actually not to win in this dunya. That is not the meaning of our lives. Our meaning of our lives is to worship Allah, to get to the akhirah. And that is the mindset of any Muslim. So we have to bear that in mind, even if maybe this dunya is just not the abode of the Muslim. We're travelers in this abode. But that said, we do everything we can while we're in this dunya to build up our strength as an ummah, militarily, politically, financially, but ultimately it's our spiritual values that come first. And as long as we have those, as long as we're praying 5 times a day, following the 5 pillars, forbidding the evil, enjoining the good, then we're winners, whether we die through American missile or not,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we should talk a little bit about Iran, because it's kind of linked to Venezuela.
Yeah.
It's considered next on the hit list to many, especially after Trump directly threatened Iran if there are any more protesters killed in the ongoing unrest that's happening in the country over the economy. And, according to some, there's upset about the Islamic Republic itself among some Iranians, that the US may intervene and get involved. Here is some footage of some of the violent protests that we've seen in Iran. Obviously, Iran has condemned these protests, saying that there's foreign backing, that these are treacherous elements within their society, which are a minority as well. But there seems to be a massive campaign online and from Western media to try and promote these violent protesters as being some kind of huge phenomena, when in reality what we see from more honest sources is that there has also been very large public displays of support for the Islamic Republic by Iranians. As you can see here, a massive protest in Tehran, because in support of the government. Because there was also they do like an annual commemoration of the loss of General Soleimani, who was assassinated during Trump's first term. And even now, years after his assassination, they're pulling out, that looks well over 1 million people possibly into the streets to commemorate. And these are diehard supporters of the Islamic Republic and of Khamenei and the revolution and everything. So this idea, I think, that Iran is on the verge of overthrowing its leaders, I think is fake news. I think it's a psyop. It's Israeli intelligence and US pushed narratives. But obviously there is continued unrest. It's been going on for a while now, and the threat of Western intervention, I think, seems real, given after what we've seen from Trump in Venezuela. What do you think of it, Roshan?
Yeah, I've been to Iran twice. It was quite a long time ago I went last time, but the sense I got over there was that the Islamic Republic regime, if you want to call it that, was secure, and it had a good amount of support, popular support, from the majority of the population. You have, my sense was that maybe a third of the country were diehard supporters, and a third of the country were critical supporters, and a third of the country didn't like them. That was my assessment, and I think now, obviously, there's been 40 years or more of economic warfare, and people just want to live with a bit of dignity, and obviously that might have eroded away some of the support for the authorities. But my sense was, despite that, what most Iranians wanted was reform rather than revolution, and they realized the major problem in the country is the economic problem, but that is half to do with economic sanctions, but also probably half to do with mismanagement and perhaps corruption as well. So that's my sense of what's happening in the country. I think in terms of, I think the West also knows that the Islamic Republic is secure at the moment. It's not facing the kind of unrest that it can't just deal with. They're probably looking for a pretext to bomb the country, and they obviously have sleeper cells. Israel and America and the West have sleeper cells within the country that are probably a part of these protests, and some of these protests have been violent. They want the regime to crack down on the protests, and then they will exaggerate that crackdown and mediatize it, hype it, inflate it, and then use it as an excuse to bomb the country. And they're hoping that there'll be some kind of uprising. But I think they also know that without boots on the ground, they probably can't actually change the authorities in power. So they might look for some kind of Hollywood-style operation where they try and go in and snatch Khamenei, like they did with Maduro, in the hope of just igniting more unrest. But I just don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't think Bashar al-Assad would fall as quickly as he did. But I think this is a whole new situation, and I think the Iranian regime is secure for the moment.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Yeah, they could try something. The Israelis are certainly lobbying them hard for it, and again, they're still talking about we've got to completely wipe out Iran's nuclear capabilities, and obviously, I think they still have the ability to enrich, and that so-called ability, or what they call a threat, has not been erased. Could they try and assassinate the leader? Quite possibly. I mean, they've been assassinating everyone else in Lebanon, in Gaza, now in Venezuela with the kidnapping. So these guys, plus they've already assassinated Qasem Soleimani, senior military figure and one of the most popular people in Iran at the time as well, leading their war against ISIS in Iraq. So, I think that what we can expect is perhaps more military action and tensions to flare up whilst Trump is still in charge, because Israel is, going to make the most. They're going to milk Trump. They've got him wrapped around their finger.
I do think there's going to be an attack.
As much out of him as they can.
I do think before Trump's term ends in 3 years' time, he's going to want to have the scalp of the Islamic Republic. And if he can't take down the Islamic Republic, he's probably going to try and kill some of their leaders.
Yeah.
So I do see, and another attack probably on the nuclear facilities. I think the first one probably set them back a few years at most. So, yeah, I think we can definitely see more action in Iran in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Probably sooner.
I just think that there's so much...
I think Larijani, they might go for Larijani, because Larijani explicitly said that they were going to attack American soldiers.
You never know.
So I think they might try to assassinate Larijani.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah. You never know.
He's the Speaker of Parliament, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. A senior figure there, close to the leader as well. So that might...
But the only other thing I would say, and I said this on Saturday as well, when we did our last show, is that I don't think us Sunni Muslims should kind of jump on any anti-Iran bandwagon. I know that most Sunni Muslims are not fans of the Iranian regime. They cannot be forgiven for what happened in Syria. I think that is the mainstream Sunni view. But at the same time, an attack on Iran and a destabilization of Iran will not stay within Iran. It's going to spread to the rest of the region and be to the detriment of anyone. This is an American-Israeli project for the benefit of Americans and Israelis. The opposition in Iran is vile. They are atheistic. They are pro-West. They are pro-Israel. They are a million times... If you don't like this current Iranian government, they are a million times worse. Yeah. So sometimes be careful for what you wish for.
Yeah, that's the thing. Whatever you think of Iran at the moment, the opposition literally hates Islam.
Yeah.
They hate Islam. Okay, you might say, well, the Iranians are a Shia, so they're a different Muslim or whatever, or they're not Muslim. Well, they say La ilaha illallah. The opposition says words about Islam.
They hate Islam. And they're kuffar, 100%.
Absolutely. They want to destroy the Islamic Republic because not because it's Shia, but because in their eyes they see it as the Islamic Republic. You know, they want to destroy it for that reason in the region.
Yeah.
Well, we have one more story to talk about, Roshan. It's a unique one. It's one that involves me. Basically, I've created a stir online. You know me, Roshan.
Disgrace.
I like to cause a bit of trouble, even when I don't quite mean to. I sort of walk into these things. So basically, on Monday, I have opened up, brothers and sisters, you may be interested to know that I actually opened up a brand new TikTok channel. It's called Rob Rates, and it's basically, you know, I travel around a lot for 5 Pillars. I go to a lot of Muslim halal restaurants, cafes, businesses, and I thought, you know what, a good way of giving back would be to review some of this stuff. Why not? I mean, some of these places like the work
Giving back or getting free food?
Well, the thing is, I actually get free food because
We
of
all
the
do.
work we do here at 5
We do,
Pillars.
yeah, alhamdulillah.
And, you know, I don't really, apart from if I do them a favor with a story or whatever, helping them out in some way, I'm not really giving anything back. No, I'm taking their food for free, their hospitality, and, you know, just doing my ordinary journalism. So I thought, you know what, a good way, why don't I review these places at least? And any other establishment I go to, and just encourage people to go.
So what happened here?
Name some good platforms. So on Monday, had some time off, went down to Knightsbridge with the missus. We went to a couple of halal restaurants, had a whale of a time. And she told me...
You ate twice?
Oh, we ate, we ate a couple of times. Got some really good drinks as well. Oh, it was a lovely day, freezing cold, but a lovely day. Anyway, my wife tells me, Rob, you know that amazing Turkish baklava cafe that we went to in Istanbul called Hafiz Mustafa? They've opened a branch here in London, and they said when they opened it, they've got a prayer space for Muslims.
Yeah.
So it's like not just an amazing place to eat, but they've also created facilities for Muslims to come and pray and to enjoy. And I was like, wow, that's a definite one. We've got to go there, got to make these guys look great. We'll do a review, have something to eat, and I'll get a chance to pray, and I'll review the prayer facilities as well. Having a place to pray in Knightsbridge, it's not easy. You know, not everywhere has those facilities, so this is going to be great. Went there. First thing when I arrive, I said, oh, I hear you've got a prayer space. Love to see that. I'm a Muslim. And they say, no, you have to pay, buy something, sit down, go to the table, and then you might be allowed to pray. And I was like, really? You want me to pay to pray? They're like, yeah, if you don't buy something first, you ain't using it. And I just didn't feel good about that. I felt that's something wrong. Put me off.
Were you going to meet
there? To the missus. Yeah, absolutely. We were going to review the place. Bro, we were going to review the place, Roshan. We were filming outside. I was making a big to-do about it. I was going to encourage people to come down. We was really looking forward to it. I mean, I know I've tried this place before in Istanbul. It's that fantastic luxury sweet shop. And I was really looking forward to it, going to really, really promote them. And then I get there and they're like, nah, you've got to pay. You've got to sit down. And it wasn't just like, oh, just buy a tea, an innocent tea, and we'll let you go in. It was like, no, you have to sit down, get a table, not take it away with you. You've got to sit down, buy some stuff, then we might let you pray. I was like, you know, I can pray for free outside. You know, Allah made...
That's probably what they said to you.
Allah made this earth. Well, that's the thing. We'll get into the reaction now. So anyway, I had this experience at the door, was really put off, just decided, you know what, I'm not even going to review the place now, I'll just leave you to it. Left, didn't feel good about it, felt like it was a bad experience. And then when I got home, we looked online and we noticed that there was similar negative feedback that Muslims had been giving them on TikTok after going and having the same experience as me, going there excited, looking forward to it. And people were even saying when they bought something, they weren't even guaranteed to be allowed in to pray. So I decided, you know what? Won't make a big thing out of it.
Was it a tiny prayer space or quite big?
The prayer space, well, because they didn't let me in without paying, I didn't see it. But as far as I can see from other videos, it's, you know, modest in size, definitely. But they have like really beautiful wudu facilities and stuff like that. I wanted to see it, wanted to review it. You know, it's not huge, but it's a space. So anyway, went home, saw other people were upset about this. I thought, you know what? I'll just post a picture with my feedback, tag them in, see what people say about it. Let's ask X. Okay.
And what was your reaction?
The reaction was huge, Roshan. So loads of people.
For or against?
Mixed. So huge reaction. It's currently sitting on over 340 views, lots of interactions online.
40,000.
interactions online. And basically, my experience received a mix of people who supported me completely, people who criticized me over it, and people who thought I was just being silly, quite frankly, making a mountain out of a molehill. The establishment did actually respond directly.
What did they say? In the interest of fairness?
Yeah, in the interest of fairness, absolutely. They responded saying, thank you for sharing your thoughts. It's a lengthy response, so I will put it up there so you guys can read it in full. But basically they said that they opened it to the public to begin with. Demand was high, so they decided to limit and police it by only making it available to customers. Paying customers are allowed to use it. They then hit back and said, we want people to review us on our products and services as a cafe, not as a mosque.
Fair enough.
And I don't think so. I think that it is an understandable reason. I'll give them that. And I think a lot of people have supported them, but a lot of people support me as well. I think it's against the principle. It's against the spirit.
Because you were turned away from, and it was empty when you got there.
But I don't like this idea of paying to pray, pay to pray. That's a policy that doesn't sit right with me, Roshan. I mean, Allah made the world free to pray, all of the earth.
It's a private establishment, Robert.
It's, they advertised it. They advertised it as a prayer space. So they used it as a pin.
On their website.
As a pin. When they launched the place, they said to everyone, come to our establishment in London, we'll sell you sweets, and there's a prayer space for you to come.
Was there a mosque nearby?
So they used it as a pin.
Was there a mosque nearby?
In custom, not really, not in Knightsbridge, no.
Not like
you'd have to travel a fair ways.
Away.
Yeah, like Harrods, for example, should have a prayer space, it doesn't.
Can I just give you a reaction? When I saw it, I must admit, I thought you were making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah.
And I thought you were being a bit unfair to them, to be honest. I thought that ultimately it's not a mosque, and they don't have a license for it to be a mosque either. And if people are just going there to use the prayer space, it's going to get very crowded very quickly. People are going to be going there taking the mickey, not buying anything. Obviously, it's disturbing customers that were already there. I think it's natural that, if you're going to use any facilities in a private establishment, you should pay for something. You should buy a cup of tea or whatever. So that was my immediate reaction. I must admit, I thought you were going over the top.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I was going there to review the place and to praise them for their food and the prayer space. In the end, I ended up doing nothing because I just felt like...
I think that one thing I will agree with you with...
I'm not cattle. I don't like this idea of pay first. It's a very English attitude on it. And if you go to the Islamic world, Muslims are not like that, and they're not like that in Turkey.
Yeah, because they don't pray in Turkey, do they? Often don't pray.
Joking aside.
Half the population don't pray.
No, joking aside, this is an establishment that has a Muslim legacy and image about it. It's very proud of that. And I get it. I know that the intention was good, but they have put themselves in a position where
I think they could have made.
I don't think people are well receiving that.
I think they could have made an exception, because the way you told it to me is that when you got there,
it was a quiet Monday afternoon.
It was empty. So I think they can have a general rule, and they can use a bit of common sense to bend those rules from time to time. But if people are going there like it's Jummah or something, then obviously not.
Yeah,
but I can see both sides. I know it's not nice being turned away by a fellow Muslim. Well, all you want to do is pray. I'd feel a bit kind of put off by that, but I can always sort of see their point of view.
Yeah,
so
I think the reaction's very mixed, very mixed. A lot of people agree with me, and they're like, they shouldn't have done that. Just give me 5 minutes to pray.
What do you think, brothers and sisters? Leave your comments out there. Do you support Robert? Do you think that he's, is he right, or has he kind of oppressed this hardworking Muslim restaurant, potentially ruining its business? No, not going that far. But do you think what I said was correct, or do you support Robert?
Yeah, just tell me what you think. I mean, the fact is, I know what quality service is. I frequent Knightsbridge all the time, and I know what it's like. This is a world-renowned, high luxury company, and it treats its guests like sultans, and that's what the experience I received when I was in Istanbul. But then going there in London, being told at the door, no, unless you pay, you ain't praying here. Yeah. I don't know. It just didn't sit right for me. And a lot of people have said that online on TikTok. So I think there's an issue here. Maybe it needs some revision.
I was in Bradford once, and I had a similar experience, but they didn't advertise a prayer room. But I asked to pray in a restaurant, and it was very quiet, and they didn't allow me to do it. But I think on reflection, they may not have been Muslims. They were like Arabs, but they could have been Christians. But still, it's not nice. It's not nice if someone says, you want to pray, and it's Maghrib time, and you can see the sun going down. You don't have much time to pray, and someone refuses you that prayer opportunity. It isn't nice.
It was the first for me. I think maybe that's why it was so shocking, because it was Turkish, and as
a Muslim, I could never turn someone away from praying, or if I had to, because that was the rules of the establishment, I would go out of my way to explain why. And be very apologetic about it, and embarrassed.
Yeah, exactly. I think they are embarrassed by this. I mean, that's why they actually decided to react to me personally, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the clarification. I think it's important for fairness' sake to put it out there. So, that's it. That's it. If you want to keep watching me reviewing places, halal food joints like this, check out my Robert Rates on TikTok. You'll see more of this.
Plug.
And what can I say? It's a key part of the story. It went viral, and you know me, I like to create an impact wherever I go. So make sure if I show up at your restaurant, don't turn me away.
Everyone's going to be scared now, aren't they?
I like
people. Please don't give us a bad review.
No one's they're going to lock the doors when they see me down the street. You know what?
You're just doing this for more dessert, aren't you? Because now every restaurant in the country is going to be scared when they see you.
Do you know what?
And they're going to treat you like a king. That was your intention.
I've rated and reviewed several joints now. Never told them in advance I was coming. Never told them I was reviewing the place. Didn't ask for a discount. Didn't ask for free stuff. That's why these guys treated me that way, because they thought I was a normal, honest, everyday Muslim.
What channel can I launch to review? What can I review? You're reviewing Feud. What can I review?
I don't know. You haven't really got a life, bless you. I mean, you can review this show, and that's about it. It's like, what else are you doing, Roshan?
Not
Anything?
much. 5 pillars and family. That's my life. Nothing else. Nothing else.
Yeah. Roshan is a workaholic. Give him something to do. Maybe someone can offer you. I don't know. Are you into gardening?
No. What? Because I'm old. That's why you suddenly get into gardening. Oh, where's my gnome? I'm 50 years old. Where's my gnome? Where's my
potatoes? But I don't know. I mean, even Jeremy Corbyn, bless him, he loves a good courgette. He grows massive courgettes.
What it is, they say as you get older, you get into gardening. It hasn't happened to me yet.
You need to find a hobby, I think. I think it's a bit sad now, just this show.
Just being a grumpy old man, I think. That's my hobby.
Shouting at people on New Year's Eve.
Just pointing out the faults in others. That's my hobby.
That would be a good
being
TikTok
judgmental.
channel. Yeah, people would like to watch you be judgmental. Yeah. Well, brothers and sisters, I think we've reached the end of this week's show. There will be more shows to come, inshallah, as the year rolls on. And do please like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel immensely and helps us to grow our platform and put our messaging out there to where it needs to be heard, and that's in everyone's ears. Well, thank you very much, and until next time, it's Ma Salama. Assalamu alaikum for now.